Hey everybody, welcome back to A Day or So Late Movie Reviews. I am here talking about a movie. I actually saw this movie about a week ago, so I'm a little late for my review, but I absolutely had to get this review in. Normally on this channel we do a lot of classic movie reviews because I'm just catching up on a lot of movies I haven't seen yet. A lot of classics that I hear a lot of people talking about that I've never seen, so I have to check those out. But there was no way. There's no way I have a movie review channel and I'm not going to talk about Joker. Okay. So Joaquin Phoenix is the latest to don the mantle of Joker. And before we go any further, let's just get this out of the way. Joaquin Phoenix is sensational. There's all the, I understand if you haven't seen this movie and people keep talking about Joaquin Phoenix's performance and how good it is, and you're thinking maybe they're overhyping it. They're not. They're literally not. His performance is out of this world crazy good.
Are you having any negative thoughts? All I have are negative thoughts.
So if for no other reason, if you want to see it just for that, that's perfectly fine. His performance is outstanding. Definitely Oscar worthy, in my opinion. But the movie itself, listen, this is how good this movie is. I saw it over a week ago, and it has been in my head for a full 7 days. I haven't gone back to see it, and I still can't stop thinking about it. I can say that for one other movie that I saw this year, which was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Loved it. Only saw it once, but it was in my head for days afterwards. Fantastic movie, also. But Joker is so good. Now, if you're one of those people who like dark, gritty, sort of up in your face kind of real world, I don't know what the word is, but like real world sentiment about mental illness, about violence, about death, about tragedy, man, you are gonna love this movie. Joker is all of that. It's, in a strange way, he says it. You know, I used to think my life was a tragedy. Now I see it's a comedy. No, it's a tragedy. It's an absolute tragedy. And it's a bracing look at what can happen to a person who's damaged. And the weird part about it is there's no real telling if what you're actually seeing is the truth. This could literally all be in his head. He could literally just be in Arkham imagining this story. And that's the question that they leave to the audience is, was this real or not? And if you err on the side that none of this was real, it's still crazy good. If you err on the side that yes, this all happened, it's still good. It's way better. But his story is actually way worse if it is. There's so much in this story. And listen, I'd said get it out of the way, but I cannot stop coming back to Joaquin Phoenix's performance, man. He's in literally every scene, and he delivers, man. I mean, and it's funny because I was like, okay, when I first heard it premiered at Venice, it won the Golden Lion, I think at Venice, and a lot of people were praising it, like, man, this movie is awesome. And then once it got closer to its release, a lot of critics started downing it. They called it derivative, which I thought was interesting. I recently watched Taxi Driver before I watched Joker. I'll have a review of that up later as well. And they said it was very derivative of Taxi Driver. Now, I don't see it. I may be the only one. I just didn't see it. I saw, like, Taxi Driver is what happens when someone's job drives them, and he's also dealing with probably PTSD. So yeah, I can see when that drives a person to madness. But he felt he was 100% righteous. He was the righteous one because he was watching his neighborhood deteriorate with pimps and hookers and all sorts of things. He just didn't find it appropriate. So he snapped. And not really snapped. I don't know. Like, and again, you could argue that it was all in his head as well. But I didn't see the connection. I mean, it definitely had the Scorsese touch to it.
One small thing.
Yeah.
When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker?
100% Scorsese had his hands all over that. But other than that, I was just, I didn't see it. Now, King of Comedy, 100% saw, like 100% saw all of King of Comedy in the Joker. That made perfect sense. It was, oh, okay, yeah. Like, so when they say derivative, the King of Comedy bit, yeah, I can totally see that. However, overall, I think the difference is this is a fairly well-known comic book character who is getting his, you could argue, his official origin story. And it's, it's very hard to put into words, man. It's dark, it's gritty, it's brutal, it's fantastic. I mean, and this was the interesting thing that I noticed. A lot of people were saying that it was violent, and I was like, okay, well, when does the violence start? Because I'm like, there's like maybe 2-3 scenes of violence in the beginning before he, dons the persona. And then the whole last half of the movie is carnage. And I'm like, okay, but that's it. Like, I'm like, this is a 2-hour movie. It has maybe 4 or 5 scenes with violence in them. Now, don't get me wrong. The violent scenes are pretty violent, but nothing worse than any other movie with violence in it, any other movie with an R rating. Yeah. Well, what I thought was interesting going in, this is the Joker. A lot of people assume it would have elements of humor in it with some of the dark grittiness, and not really. It literally has maybe 2 scenes that you find funny, and then the rest is just this really hard, uncomfortable story to watch. And it's, I mean, initially before it came out, I said, due to the controversy surrounding the movie, I said that it'll probably make the bulk of its money its opening weekend, and then it's going to see a significant, fall off. I'm not so sure about that now, because I can see a lot of people revisiting this movie, even though it's not your typical night out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would actually say it is a date movie, but here's how you do it. You see the movie first, then you go out to discuss it, because you're going to have a lot of things to say after this movie is over. It is intense. It is really intense. The other aspect of the film that I liked was, aside from Joaquin Phoenix's impressive performance, and speaking of his impressive performance, the critics, I don't remember which critic, but someone had said that this was the movie, Joker was the patron saint of incels. And I was like, okay, I don't get it. I don't get how you saw it. Like, there are so many reviews of this movie that I was like, maybe they saw a different 2-hour cut of the movie that that Warner Brothers officially released, because I don't know what they're talking about. I'm like, but the the incel part is, okay, so there's a girl he's seeing, and I don't really want to give it away, but there's a girl he's seeing, and, you know, it doesn't go the way it's supposed to go. But when they say that, I'm like, okay, no one I know who's committed a mass shooting was actually I'm part of the incel community. I do know that some of them have committed violence, particularly against women, or at least talk about it. But yeah, like, so that fear, that worry that somebody who was in the incel community was going to, you know, might find this movie I don't know, relatable, and then try to act on it. Such a ridiculous assertion. It's just pitiful. Like, pitiful. But I know the scene that made them uncomfortable. The scene that made them uncomfortable was when he goes up to do a stand-up. And it's weird because he has this laugh. And this laugh, like, it's a medical condition. He can't really control it. Like, anytime he gets nervous or anxious or scared, he laughs. And oh God, Joaquin, man, I can't. The best part of this movie is Joaquin Phoenix's performance, but also the cinematography is awesome, the photography is awesome, and the score is amazing. But the best part is Joaquin Phoenix, and how he makes jokers laugh. It's not funny. It's concerning. It's really concerning, but it's so good. Like, as far as the performance goes, it's so good. But when he's doing his stand-up comedy, he starts laughing uncontrollably at the beginning, and you hear, like, just the silence and the whispers in the crowd, and you're just like I'm literally cringing in the theater, just like, oh God, oh, this is awful. Like, and I feel like it was that scene where they were like, oh yeah, here's this guy who's finally going to put himself out there, and it doesn't go well. But in his mind, he thinks it does. So this is someone who's completely not connected to reality. And I could see how that scene made them go, oh no, this is hitting a little bit too close to the truth. But good movies should hit close to the truth and capture an essence. And I think the aspect of it being a comic book character sort of takes some of the ferocity, at least the ferocity against it, out of it. Because you're like, eventually this man becomes this character whom we all know from a comic book, from a cartoon. So, you know, those people who were getting, like, super offended by it, it was like, but, so in the end of this movie is gotta be the best, I don't know, 20, 25, 30 minutes you can spend in the theater. It's so good, and all I can say is Joaquin Phoenix, man. Joaquin Phoenix makes this everything it is. And listen, I wish I had a vote in the Oscars, because I swear to God, he needs to be in that conversation. The Oscars are in February. We are now in October. There's maybe about 5 more movies coming out this year that I could see worthy of Oscar consideration. And even still, I don't think you could get away with not having Joaquin Phoenix as a nominee. I don't care if he wins. He should. But I don't care if he wins. But he should definitely be a nominee. We'll see. But anyway, overall, Joker, amazing. Top notch. One of the best films you will see all year. As long as you don't have a weak stomach. As long as you're not, super sensitive, you'll love it. It's been a day or so late. My name is Phoenix Clouden. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.